if you don't do healing within yourself, that pain, that insecurity, that suffering, whatever it is, that sadness, then it's going to just stay in there. But if you heal from it, if you recognize it and you heal from it, then you get your power back. So I want to talk today about, are you a product of your environment? And the answer is we all are products of our environment. And a lot of people don't like that saying, but the truth of the matter is that what that means is that we're all a product of how we grew up. The decision that you get to make as an adult is that, do you want to stay a product of your environment, or do you want to become the result of it? Now, each and every one of us have a different environment that we grew up in, okay? So you're a product of your environment no matter what. That doesn't mean it was bad. It just means how you grew up it shapes the way you perceive things, your experiences, how you went through them. I do believe that we all have some things that happened to us growing up or in school that affect us in one way or another, okay? It doesn't mean that everything has to be bad, but we all have our own experiences, right? And we all deal with them differently. Sadly enough, too many of us have some not so fun experiences as a child. And so when I say we're all a product of our environment, well, we are. The thing is that as a product of your environment, limiting beliefs are created. And those limiting beliefs are what shape us as adults and how we deal with things, how we react, what we carry around with us, what baggage are we carrying around with us, and how we perceive so-called threats or dangers. They define what our insecurities are. What I would like to discuss is, do you want to stay a product of your environment, or do you want to become the result of it? It took me a long, long time to figure that out because I didn't understand it. You know, I didn't know what limiting beliefs were, never heard of it. But I believe that any of us that have children, we do a lot of self-reflection. At least I believe we should. When we have our kids, we do a lot of self-reflection into our own childhood. You know, I always knew there were certain things I wanted to do different as a mom that I wish I would have had growing up. And I believe that, you know, my parents did the best that they could. And I don't think they did anything bad or wrong, but they were a product of their environment. Okay. They did things based upon how they grew up and how they lived their life with their parents, my grandparents. And then it just keeps going back and back. As a mom, I've realized that I get to choose what product environments do I want my kids to be. Okay. I am by no means a perfect mom, but I do try to be the very best mom that I can be. And I realized that if I didn't heal from certain limiting beliefs, I didn't shatter those limiting beliefs that I got from my childhood growing up, that they were going to be carried on into my kids. So somebody somewhere along the line has to draw the line in the sand, so to speak, and say, no more. I don't want this type of environment to go on anymore. I don't think a lot of people just kind of step outside the lens, so to speak, and look in as a third party. That's not an easy thing to do. When you choose to heal and you choose to overcome, then these are just some of the roads that I went down on my healing. And that's one of the many reasons I want to do this podcast. And one of the many reasons I'm writing my book. My book is about shattering limiting beliefs. You do have to get rid of those limiting beliefs that are formed as we grow up in order to truly find happiness, in order to truly be the person that you're meant to be. Because we all live behind this lens of fear. We all have these insecurities. Those are all created from limiting beliefs. Those limiting beliefs are born from our environment as a child. And I grew up in a great environment, right? I had two parents that loved me, brothers and sisters, and I was taken care of, and I went to school and so forth and so forth. But I grew up also in a very critical household, in a negative household. And so, watching my mom struggle with her weight, I associated that with, your weight, the number on the scale, your weight dictates what people think of you and how happy you'll be and how pretty you are. And nobody ever told me that. Something my parents said, like, hey, you gotta weigh a certain amount. It's just that limiting belief was created from my environment. And I shared that with you so that you understand exactly what I'm talking about when I say you're a product of your environment. But in order to shatter those limiting beliefs, you have to be able to go back and figure out what they are. That's not easy to do because you got to be able to look in the mirror and take a long, hard look. And you have to admit areas that you are insecure in. What are your fears? What scares you? Why do you react the way you do? Are you critical of other people? Do you judge too easy? If so, why? Why do you do that? Because someone who's really happy with themselves and has done a lot of healing, we don't judge other people. We're not critical. We're accepting. Our eyes are wide open. We understand. I can easily now see things in others where I can see there's some healing that needs to happen there. And I can only now recognize and see that because I've done healing within myself. If you don't do healing within yourself, that pain, that insecurity, that suffering, whatever it is, that sadness, then it's going to just stay in there. And it can come out in negative ways. It can come out in your attitude. It can come out in the way you treat others. But if you heal from it, if you recognize it and you heal from it, then you get your power back. Because until you shatter limiting beliefs, until you want to become the result of your environment instead of a product of it, you're just going to hold yourself back in life. And I held myself back in life way too long. I really, really did. And one day what happened is I got sick and tired of hearing my own damn self. I got sick and tired of hearing that negative tape playing in my head. I got sick and tired of realizing, holy crap, I'm being critical and negative, just like my parents were. I don't want to be like that. I don't want my kids to be like that. I don't want my kids to limit themselves because they have blinders on in life. I want my kids to be loving and accepting of themselves and of others. You cannot love and accept others for who they are and where they are if you can't do that with your own damn self. And what kind of life is that? I wanted a podcast for a long time. I wanted to write a book for a long time, but it's like, nobody's going to read that. Nobody's going to listen to that. Nope, they're not. Because I'm telling myself that and I'm not putting it out there to even give myself a damn chance. And then one day I just got really, really tired of it. I got tired of just, why do I do this to myself? I'm not going to do this to myself anymore. It is time for me to say F fear and say yes to me. And that's not an easy thing to do. It really isn't. It's not easy to heal. It's not easy to accept. It's not easy to look in the mirror. And, there were some parts of myself that I just felt like were ugly. Those parts that were ugly, they were created from painful situations, from horrible breakups, from being screwed over one too many times. It's bad enough when someone hurts you and you go through something painful. That's bad enough, right? But why do we have to make it worse and continue to let that pain, that person control us through us not being able to let go, forgive, and heal?